Have you ever felt like your mind is cluttered, like a room filled with noise that doesn't belong to you? In a world overflowing with information, but starving for wisdom, intelligence isn't just about how much you know, it's about how deeply you understand, how calmly you respond, and how clearly you think, even in chaos. And that's where the ancient Stoics come in. They weren't just philosophers sitting in silence, they were warriors of the mind. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor; Epictetus, born a slave; Seneca, advisor to emperors; men forged by hardship yet calm in the storm. They discovered something we've almost forgotten. Your intelligence is not a gift, it's a discipline. Today we're diving into the lost mental strategies of the Stoics, simple but powerful practices that will sharpen your mind, strengthen your focus, and help you see the world with unshakable clarity. And if that sounds like something your soul's been quietly searching for, then stay with us. Because what you'll learn today isn't just theory, it's transformation. If you're ready to stop scrolling and start thinking clearly, hit like to support our little corner of the internet, subscribe so we can keep bringing you wisdom that actually feeds your mind. Welcome to a different kind of conversation. Welcome to the Stoic path to intelligence. Lesson 1. Don't speak ill of yourself. Rewire your inner dialogue. Here's something the Stoics understood long before modern psychology caught up. The way you talk to yourself shapes your intelligence. Not your IQ, not how fast you can do math, but the intelligence that guides your decisions, protects your peace, and sharpens your ability to navigate life. And the truth is, most of us are quietly sabotaging ourselves with our own thoughts. Think about it. How often do you say things like, "I'm not good at this. I always mess up. I'm just not smart enough." Marcus Aurelius, writing alone at night in the dim light of his tent, had a habit most people overlook. He wrote not to impress, but to remind himself how to stay strong, focused, and calm. His meditations were full of phrases like, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." He didn't flatter himself, but he didn't tear himself down either. He trained his mind like a soldier trains muscle, with discipline and purpose. Self-talk is where intelligence begins. If your inner voice is filled with doubt, criticism, and negativity, it doesn't matter how many books you read or podcasts you listen to. Your mind won't absorb the wisdom, it'll reject it. And then choose better words, choose clarity, choose strength. That's how intelligence begins, from the inside out. Lesson 2. Don't react immediately. Train the mind to respond, not explode. If you want to level up your intelligence today, not someday, not after a dozen self-help books, but right now, start here. Slow your reaction. The Stoics had a superpower. And no, it wasn't cold detachment or emotional numbness like people sometimes assume. It was pause, that space between what happens and how you respond to it. In that small space lives your greatest power, not just to be calm, but to be clear, intentional, and wise. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That's intelligence, not just reacting based on mood, ego, or habit, but stopping, observing, and choosing a response that matches your values, not your impulses. Let's be real, the world is loud. People cut you off in traffic, send annoying texts, say things that sting, but reacting instantly, angrily, or emotionally doesn't make you stronger, it makes you predictable. Easy to provoke, that's not intelligence, that's emotional autopilot. The Stoics weren't perfect, they had tempers, fears, pride, but they trained themselves to delay the reaction, to insert a breath, a thought, a moment of clarity. And that pause, that's where your real intelligence lives. Every time you choose not to explode, not to snap back, not to panic. You rewire your brain. You grow a kind of mental strength that no one can take from you. That's not weakness. It's wisdom in motion. So today, when something annoys you, frustrates you, or tempts you to lash out, don't. Wait. Observe. Respond with clarity. Because intelligence isn't loud, doesn't need to win the argument or fire back. It's quiet, composed, and powerful. And that's the Stoic way. Lesson 3. Don't share every thought. Protect the power of silence. One of the most underrated signs of intelligence? Knowing when not to speak. In our world today, we're encouraged to say everything, tweet everything, post every opinion, every frustration, every random thought the second it hits us. But the Stoics believed something radically different. True wisdom grows in silence. Epictetus, who was born into slavery and rose to become one of the most respected philosophers in Rome, once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." That wasn't just about manners, it was about mastery of the mind. The more we talk without thinking, the more we weaken our thoughts. But when we hold them, turn them over in our minds, examine them carefully, they become stronger, clearer, sharper. Not every opinion needs to be voiced, not every reaction needs to be made public, and not every insight needs to be shared right away. When you speak less, you think more, and when you think more, you learn to separate the emotion of the moment from the truth underneath it. That's intelligence. That's what Marcus Aurelius practiced, writing private notes to himself instead of broadcasting his every thought to the empire. He was an emperor, but also a student of silence. In a world obsessed with being heard, the truly intelligent are the ones who have learned the art of listening deeply and speaking wisely. That's not just Stoicism, it's power in its purest form. Lesson 4. Don't chase. Every emotion learn to observe without losing yourself. Here's a truth the Stoics lived by. Not every emotion deserves a reaction. In fact, one of the fastest ways to cloud your intelligence is to let emotions grab the steering wheel of your life. Anger, fear, jealousy, excitement. They're powerful, but they're also temporary. And if you make permanent decisions based on temporary feelings, you'll find yourself constantly cleaning up your own chaos. Marcus Aurelius didn't say don't feel. He wasn't made of stone. He felt pressure, grief, betrayal. But he learned to observe his emotions, not obey them. That's a different kind of strength. That's emotional intelligence. The kind that actually makes you smarter, clearer, and more resilient in every area of life. He wrote, "External things are not the problem. It's your assessment of them. And you have the power to change that. Your intelligence expands when you stop getting yanked around by every emotional wave. You become someone who doesn't panic at the first sign of trouble. You don't explode in anger. You don't sink into self-pity. You pause, you observe, and then you decide, with clarity, what response aligns with your values, not your mood. In a way, it's like becoming the calm eye of the storm. The world might be spinning, emotions might be rising, but you, at your center, remain still. That's what the Stoics practiced daily. That's what made them wise. So next time something stirs your heart or rattles your nerves, don't chase it. Don't run with it, just observe it. Let the emotion pass and let your mind lead. That's the Stoic upgrade. That's real intelligence in action. Lesson 5. Don't brag about your growth. Let wisdom speak for itself. One of the most subtle signs of real intelligence is humility. Not the fake kind that disguises pride as modesty, but the quiet, steady confidence that doesn't need to announce itself. And this is where many people, especially in our age of constant self-promotion, get it completely backwards. The Stoics believed that the more you truly grow, the less you feel the need to prove it to others. Your life becomes the evidence. Your calm becomes your statement. Your actions speak so loudly you don't have to say a word. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." In today's world, it's tempting to show off every bit of progress, every new insight, every productivity hack, every spiritual aha moment. But when we constantly talk about our growth, we often trade depth for attention. The Stoics would ask, are you practicing this wisdom for applause? Or are you doing it to become a better human being? Real intelligence is rooted, not broadcasted. It doesn't need validation because it's self-sustaining. The people who are most mentally sharp, emotionally mature, and spiritually grounded are often the ones saying the least about it. They're busy living the philosophy, not performing it. That's what Marcus Aurelius did. He was the most powerful man in the world, yet his personal journal, Meditations, was never meant to be published. It was raw, private, honest. He wasn't writing for likes or followers. He was writing to stay sane, stay humble, stay clear. So here's the challenge. When you grow, when you level up, when you have those quiet wins, don't rush to post about them. Let them settle into your character. Let your energy shift. Let your presence do the talking. Because when wisdom is real, it doesn't need to be shouted. It moves quietly. It lives in your choices. And that's the kind of intelligence that leaves a mark without saying a word. Lesson 6. Don't let everyone into your mind. Protect your mental space. Like a fortress, one of the most powerful acts of intelligence in the Stoic worldview is guarding your inner world. In modern life, we protect our phones with passwords. We lock our doors at night. We even filter the water we drink. But how often do we filter what we allow into our minds? Marcus Aurelius, ruler of the Roman Empire, wrote something deeply personal in his Meditations. The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. Think about that for a second. Your mind isn't just receiving information, it's becoming it. Every opinion you absorb without thinking, every toxic conversation you entertain, every shallow distraction you let in, it all shapes you. Slowly, quietly, and without your permission if you're not careful. Intelligence isn't just about learning more, it's about choosing what to learn and what to ignore. The Stoics weren't trying to keep up with every argument, trend, or piece of gossip. They focused on what mattered, what they could control, what would help them grow, and what would keep their minds clear and strong. Because when your mental space is clear, your intelligence doesn't just rise, it thrives. That's how you build a fortress of focus in a world full of noise. If you've made it this far, take a breath. Seriously, let it land, let it sink in, because something subtle but real has already started shifting inside you. Maybe you feel it, maybe it's just a quiet awareness, a slight pause where you used to react, a clearer space in your mind. That's not just Stoic philosophy, that's you leveling up. That's what intelligence feels like. Not loud, not showy, but steady and alive. And the wild thing is, this was just the beginning. The Stoics didn't believe in overnight transformation. They believed in practice, in reflection, in showing up every day a little better, a little calmer, a little sharper than before. And now, you're part of that. But here's the twist. Which of these 7 lessons hit you the hardest? Which one stopped you in your tracks or made you think, I really needed to hear that? Drop it in the comments. Don't overthink it. Just type the number 1 through 7. And if you're feeling bold, tell us why. You never know who else needs to read what you write. That's how we build real conversations, real community. And hey, if this stirred something in you, if this felt like the kind of content that cuts through the noise, hit like not because we asked, but because you genuinely felt something. Hit subscribe, not for us, but for you. So the next time your mind needs a reset, you know exactly where to find it. Now here's a little secret for those who stayed all the way to the end. Comment the word stillness somewhere below, and we'll know you're part of the inner circle. The thinkers. The ones who don't just consume content, but transform through it. Until next time, stay grounded, stay sharp, stay unshakably you.